Okay, good afternoon, Nizam. My name is Neil.
Afternoon.
Okay, so I'm from SMU, and we're currently doing our project, which is a wiki page for our module, which is digital communications in Asia, digital media in Asia. Okay, so basically I'll be asking you a few questions. So, I mean, like, just be casual about it, lah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very casual interview. Okay, so basically, how did you get yourself started? I mean, we heard about you from Unique Frequency. How did you get yourself started to be listed as the top 10 bloggers?
Top 10 vloggers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be called a vlogger if I choose to.
Okay.
I started back in poly, back in Singapore Poly, back in 2009.
Oh.
It was for this course, for this module, New Communication Technologies, where we had to create a Twitter account, WordPress account, and also a Facebook account. And from there onwards, after graduation, I just continued using it, and I took a step ahead further, and by creating my own site, which is Online Media Gazette, as you know. And that's how I got myself started. Then from there onwards, I got a lot of attention. Then there were a lot of people contacting me. So I sort of like stopped when I entered NS.
Oh, why? Why did you stop when you entered NS?
Because there weren't a lot of time for me to do research and also do a lot of writing. Because I believe that on the weekends, I have to spend time with my family and friends.
Correct.
That's setting my priorities.
Yes, correct. I do understand that NS takes up a lot more time compared to school lah. Yeah. Okay, so basically at that time you mentioned that you're using Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, right? So currently, what type of digital media tools are you using besides this few, which you're obviously still using?
Yeah.
Are there any additional?
I used to use Foursquare.
Oh, okay.
But then again, I realized that in Singapore, it wasn't really well received when you're using Foursquare, because the idea of Foursquare is rewarding people for checking in into their businesses. There are only a couple of businesses that are really using Foursquare, like Garden Slug, Brewworks. I think there are a couple of them else that are using it, but these are the only two local businesses that I know of that are fully using Foursquare.
Yes.
So stop using it because I don't see the point in continuing using it in Singapore.
Yes, I understand. So now with the incorporation of Facebook Places, right? I think we can officially declare Foursquare as dead or something, right? Because
I don't think so, because Foursquare offers the users a lot more than Facebook Places, because Foursquare has this sort of like hierarchy ranking and the who's that are visiting the places. Then also they have this social badges, which to me it's quite okay, but to a lot of people the idea of mayorship, the idea of getting these badges, it gets to them. So it's a competition itself.
Correct.
And Facebook Places, it's not really a competition, it's more of like telling people that where you are located.
Okay, I understand, but don't you agree that the badges concept is like a double-edged sword, whereby there will be a lot of people checking in to each and every single place, like random places, there was one time when I'm still using Foursquare, so I was just randomly checking places on the bus, and there was actually this location known as bus 139. So people actually do that just to increase their points and everything, whereby it will just add on to the network traffic and everything. So don't you agree that it's kind of like a double-edged sword as compared to Facebook Places?
I think that's the downside of Foursquare, but for most sort of media tools, there are a lot of people that are using it wrongly. So one of it is checking into stuff that's not really important. And on top of that, Foursquare, the advantage of Foursquare compared to Facebook Places, you can put tips on it.
Oh yeah, I understand.
That's the thing that separates between Facebook Places and Foursquare, because when you check into a restaurant, then you can tell people which food is good, which food is bad. Compared to Facebook Places, you can't really tell. And on top of that, Foursquare's latest update was to tag a picture with it.
Yes, correct.
Before that, when I was using Foursquare, there wasn't any function for you to take a picture with it.
Yes, correct. Now you can, right?
Yes.
So is Foursquare related to Instagram?
Not really.
Not really, yeah.
Instagram is more of it's also another place. It's also another tool that you can take pictures, but through like there's really funky effects that you can put on your social media networks. It's more of like a Flickr, a mobile Flickr kind of thing.
Okay. Okay, so just a side question. I mean, like you do know that the iPhone has a lot of those social media apps, right?
Yeah.
So were you using an iPhone with your social media apps before you entered NS? I know that NS they don't allow you to have camera. Phones,
yes.
right?
I wasn't using an iPhone.
Oh, you weren't using an iPhone, so basically everything was from the PC, yeah.
So
okay.
because someone did ask me that before, why weren't you using? You're so much into social media,
yes,
but you're not using a smartphone that allows you to do tagging and everything like that, mobile.
Yes.
Because what I think is like I need to separate the things that I do personally and also the things I do for my networking site.
Yes.
So when I go out with my friends, I do not share my location. I do not share pictures.
Okay.
I do not share like my updates when I'm outside. Only when I'm at home or like just at home, really.
Yeah. So actually, it's also advised to some of the social media users out there to keep their personal space and their networking space separate, right?
Because what I notice when some people when they use Facebook and also they use Twitter, they tend to overdo their updates. So it's not something that you want to listen to because you are following them and you want they are offering nuggets of information, which is good, but it's usually drowned out by their other updates, which are incessant and also unnecessary.
Unnecessary information. That's one of the problems that we actually faced in using Twitter also, right? I mean, like there's so much like random rantings and everything that you have to really know how to like extract the important information. So like another side question for you is like so how do you personally extract those important information from the I would say the flood of like the flood of rantings and the flood of like unnecessary and irrelevant information? So
I think you do not just depend on just one social media network, which is either Twitter, Facebook, or like blogs. You try to combine all of them. After that, you can always like sort of like filter out the important ones, which people are mostly talking about, and the others will be just noises.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not really noise, but you can always get into it and just interact with them on a personal level. It's totally fine. It's not just like because I'm doing this for my business, I'm doing this for my personal thing, then after that I only want to appear formal.
Correct, I understand.
Not a lot of people want to follow someone who's really that formal. They want someone that's
exactly.
So you try to mix around with just experiment with the formality wise and also the informations that you share with the people that you're following or people that are following you.
Yeah, I totally agree with your point on that. It's like sometimes you will get like I would call it like very unexpected lobangs from these people, from these people that you normally thought they were just like random like people that you chat on Twitter with. Then suddenly they approach you. Like for example, personally me, there was this guy who actually approached me for a gig. Like he approached me for a performance for my band at this Wisma Atria via Twitter and via social media. So I was quite surprised at the things that you can do with it. Okay, so that's a very important point to note also. Okay, so back to our question. So personally, how does digital media benefit you? I mean, like besides all the various like things that you have said just now, how does it benefit you like personally or what?
To me, it breaks down the walls that are separating between the person on the other side and you yourself. Because on Twitter itself, you can always contact them personally without using any email, and you can always do it in an informal way.
Yes.
Because it's an informal setting. And then you're doing it, you're just telling them or like asking them things out of out of your curiosity, or
Correct.
even questions that you just want answered from them.
Yeah, it's like it allows you to interact with the audience on a
Mhm.
not so personal level
Yeah.
yet. So until you get to know the person a bit better,
Mhm.
like through the tiny bits of conversations in Twitter, then you can decide whether you want to go on to
Mhm.
further the relationship. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
So with that said, I met a lot of like very nice people on Twitter itself. So we had like events, and they are the ones that are supportive of this kind of events. So in a way, that's how digital media benefits me.
Okay. Okay, so besides Twitter, which of the other social media would you say that really benefited you in a very innovative or unique way? Besides the breaking down of hierarchy in Twitter, what other social media like Facebook or any others that maybe you haven't
Facebook to
mentioned?
me is more of a personal connection. So if I've met someone on Twitter, then they will be a friend of mine on Facebook, because I don't really add people that I do not know.
Yes.
Twitter is more of like informal setting. You can just follow people. It doesn't need to be a reciprocal thing. So whenever I follow you, you do not need to follow me back. But for Facebook, you both need to be in an agreement that, or you guys are friends.
Correct.
And for blogs itself, you're just expressing your thoughts and your whatever nots on by writing. So people can just read up on it, and if they find it interesting, they can tell you through their comments, or even like share with you their reasons for reading it.
Okay, so just on a side note, have you ever like had instances whereby you managed to find some old friends or some old acquaintances through Facebook? Because I feel that to me that is the most
Definitely.
that's the most important part of Facebook that has benefited. As in that's the biggest part of Facebook that's benefited me. I managed to recover like long lost friends, friends that I've lost contact for many years, and somehow they managed to find me on Facebook, and I managed to find them on Facebook.
So definitely.
So were there any like stories that?
Definitely. I mean, like before using Facebook, there were only like Friendster and MySpace, and I didn't have both of these accounts.
Oh wow!
Because I never believe in like putting a profile of yourself on the internet. So I try to keep myself just low profile and like down to earth, and I do not need like all these extra bits of information, because before that I wasn't really connected to the net.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have any of these accounts. So the only social network account, the first one, was Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, and through Facebook, I did met up with a lot of like old friends, and it was only yesterday that I attended a primary school's friend's wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't met her for a few years. We talked on Facebook for a while. Then she told me that she was a classmate of mine. I didn't know, because we changed really. Then she was saying that she's getting married like in months time. So I told her, okay, I'll come down. So yesterday I came down for the first time in a few years. So the last seeing her, and that was a nice experience.
Yeah.